What's going on, guys? It's your boy Habanero Poppy back at you with the third and final video on the Pepin dumbbells. If you haven't seen my first two videos where I talk about the safety concerns that I have with this and also the pin issues that I have with this dumbbell, go ahead and check them out on my Reddit at Habanero Poppy, or you can check it on my YouTube Habanero Gym Reviews. Okay, and today, if you've been following me, you know that I uploaded a third video a couple days ago that I took down. Really, I didn't like the direction that it was going. I didn't really like my tone after rewatching it. And I was really trying to be funny, and I think a lot of people may have taken it the wrong way. And so I think it's best that I take that off and try to refresh and come at it at a better, more positive angle. And for today, for this video, I'm going to start off by doing a full teardown of this dumbbell, showing you all the individual components and show you all the things that could go wrong in the future and all the things that can't go wrong, which is a lot. Most of the things on here really can't go wrong. It's built very strong, very simple. And then I'm going to show you the modification that I did to this dumbbell. And the modification is very easy. You can do this at home. You can do this at home. It's going to cost you less than $10. But then again, I want to let you guys know that I am not a certified engineer. And so you're going to be doing this at your own risk. It's experimental only, and I am not responsible for you hurting yourself or you damaging your dumbbell. But I will show you why I believe the case is to be that this modification is safe. So I'm going to show you guys the teardown first, and then I'm going to show you guys the modification, and then I'm going to explain to you guys why I think the modification is safe. And then after that, I am going to show you guys my full review of this dumbbell. And for the full review, I will be reviewing it as a 3.0 version where I update it by modifying this pin. I am not going to review it as its original 2.0 version because I feel like it doesn't give this dumbbell the glory that it deserves. And then for the very last closeout of this video, I will have a letter to the gym community. So this is my debut, guys. Please show me some support. Give me a like, give me a subscribe. It would really mean the world to me. So before I begin my teardown of this dumbbell, I'm going to give you guys a quick recap on the issues that I have with this dumbbell and the safety concerns that I have with it. And if you haven't seen my first two videos where I talk about the issues that I have with it, which is my knuckles catching onto this pin right here, go ahead and check that out. And let me give you a quick rundown, a quick recap of what I'm talking about if this is your first time here. And so I have kind of a bigger hand with the bigger knuckles, and I have issues where my knuckle scrapes against this, and partly it's due to me having in the community, they call it a bulldog grip, but you know, it's not actually a full bulldog grip. It's just kind of a variance of it. And it's basically when I have the dumbbell as far down in my palm as possible. When you put your palm all the way in on this dumbbell, what's going to happen? It's going to flare out your knuckles a lot more, and it's going to flare it out in the exact, in the horizontal direction. So it's not going to flare your knuckles out this way. It's going to flare your knuckles out that way. And when you're holding this dumbbell straight on, where it's completely balanced in your hand, where both of the rails are on the left and the right side of your hand, and it's not twisted like this, it's going to catch on my knuckles. See, and if you guys have you guys have big hands, this is going to be a pretty big issue for you guys. And if you guys use like a power grip where you're like trying to get your palm as far down as you can, if you guys are a seasonal lifter, a seasonal bench presser, you know it's very important to get that barbell or that handle as far down in your hand as possible in order to get the most stability in your wrists, at the sacrifice of the grip strength in your hands. And being that this is a round dumbbell, round things tend to turn and roll. And so being that the distance between the handle to this pin is only 1.6 inches, meaning that's the bottleneck of this whole circle. So whenever you have that pin, if it rolls, it's technically taking up like a slice of pie of the of the clearance in this dumbbell. And for me, that just won't work. And so I found a workaround for it. All right, guys, I just want to just clarify on the grip that I use. And so this is a noob grip, they call it. And this is when your wrist is bent all the way back. When you have a lot of weight on there, it's going to put a lot of pressure on your wrist. So you don't want to use this kind of grip. And so most people use this normal grip where the dumbbell sits further up in their hand, where they can wrap their hand fully around it, right? When you have a normal grip, the barbell, the handle isn't sitting as low as possible on your wrist. What ends up happening is you're gonna have a good grip on the dumbbell, but if you're pushing really heavy weight, your wrist isn't gonna be as stable as if the handle was closer to the wrist. And so this is a bulldog grip. This is a very exaggerated way of holding the handle, where the dumbbell is super low on the palm and the hand is, the fingers is not fully wrapped around but pushed all the way back. And as you can see, the distance between the handle on the normal grip is a lot further than the distance between the bulldog grip. And so I don't use a full bulldog grip on these dumbbells. I use like a variance of it. It's just only to a degree. And so when you're using the bulldog grip, you can see how the knuckles here, it sits very close to the handle, whereas the knuckles here, it sits further away from the handle, and there's almost like a little gap between your knuckles and the barbell, because whenever you have it super low on your wrist, you can't fully wrap because you don't have any articulation in that part of the palm. So it's going to be sitting super low on your wrist, and you're not going to be able to grip it as well. So being that the dumbbell is round, and round things, anything that's really even on both sides, when you apply force to it, it's going to roll a little bit. And so when you're holding it low like this, you're not going to be able to grip it as well and prevent it from rolling. And if you guys want to know more about the bulldog grip, just look it up. There's a lot of videos on it. And if anyone here uses this kind of power grip, please leave a comment so I know that I'm not the only one. You guys, the reason why that rolling is such a huge factor is because when the dumbbell rolls, or when it's not fully stable, when it's rocking as you're setting up for your press, that pin can strike to the back of your knuckle, which is what happens to me, and which is why I'm having issues with that pin hitting my knuckle. All right, now that we got all of that out the way, the recap and everything, let's proceed with the teardown. Okay, so the very first, most important component in this is basically the pin that locks everything in place. So this pin that goes in and out. So the main purpose of this pin is not to hold any load. This pin is really just to keep this slider, this slider in different positions, right? This right here, this bolt here, no, this nut here is what goes on the inside of the railing, right? And then this bolt here goes on the outside, and it has a washer that sits in the middle that holds it in place. And so this pin all together, what is the purpose of this, right? The purpose of this is to keep this slide from moving left and right. And so I was looking to see if there's any weight bearing on this this component, and I was just scared that if I cut this in half, or I cut a piece of this off, it would jeopardize the integrity of this component. So I looked at it, and I did some evaluation. I am no engineer, so please do this at your own risk. I am not responsible for you getting hurt or anything happening to your dumbbell. This is all experimental. So just looking at this thing here, when I take the screw out, I'm able to lift it and nothing falls out, nothing happens. And if you lift it without this pin in here, it will act the same way as if you're lifting with this pin unlocked. So the pin is only to keep
the slider from sliding left and right? And the only weight that's loading on this pin is really there's no weight holding. Let me explain that. The only weight that's being loaded on this slide are these plates that's loading it on a vertical axis. So it's going up and down. The load is going straight down with gravity. And if you was to hold the dumbbell like this, where with a neutral grip, where the weight's going up and where like this, basically. Let me show you. I don't want to do that with that because I took the pin. If you hold it like this, right? Okay, so if you hold the dumbbell like this, right, you would think that the weight down here would pull on this pin, but that is not true. The weights here on the horizontal axis, it's held together by these grooves. So this locks into this plate locks into this plate, and all of these plate basically locks into the handle. So the handle is basically supporting all of the weight when you're holding it like this. And so the purpose of this pin here is only to sandwich, to hold in place the slider to the rail. So when you look at it, if you look at this, the end of this right here, this part right here, let me show you. This part right here is the only thing that has physical contact with this rail. So when you pop it in, this whole nipple is not contacting anything. It doesn't hold any weight. When you pop it out, it still isn't in contact with anything. When you pop it out, this pin actually has zero contact with this rail. That's what makes it move freely. You see these big holes? When you pop it in, this cone, this round end right here, it locks into these grooves, these big holes, and that's what prevents the slider from moving. So then you want to ask, what is the purpose of this nub? So this purpose of this nub is only for installing the pin. So the purpose of the nub is for you to grip the nub like this, and then you can turn it on this side to screw it in. So theoretically, I can cut that nub off, and we shouldn't have any issues. But the only issue we have when we cut this nub off is when we screw it in. You see how it sits flush in there? There's no longer anything to grip onto this bolt of this nut for you to apply tension. And so when I went ahead and this is before the modification, I went ahead and I cut this whole nub off with a machinery tool, and I put a slot in it. So this slot is basically for me to put a flathead in here, and then I grip the flathead with what is this? A wrench? Well, not a wrench. Pliers, right? I grip it like this. I'm able to slot it in and hold tension, and then I use the Allen wrench on the other side to tighten it. You got to make sure you put Loctite on it, just because, you have a lot less thread, and it's very cumbersome to it's very difficult at first to work with this, because you have very little place to apply tension, and you have to be extremely careful, because if you script this, it's going to be a pain in the butt to take off. So I usually just I usually just keep on one side. So if anything happens on one side, I have another side. All right. And you would think that you could just use one of these metal grinder and just grind this down like this. But it's probably going to take you a very long time, and it's not going to be very accurate. And so that's why I chose to go with my machinist. And if you guys want this modification done, I'm willing to do it for you guys. And we just have to pay my machinist. But the only thing about it is you guys are going to have to ship me your pin, because it's going to cost me a lot of money just to fabricate this pin in a small batch. So you have to ship me your pin in order to do that. And if you ship me your pin, then you're going to not be able to use your dumbbell for about a week, right? And there's another thing is, when you ship me your pin, I can't be responsible if something happens to your pin and it gets lost during the shipping, because that's beyond my control. And so you're going to have to insure your pin. And I don't know how Rep is going to react when you lose your pin, if they're going to give you a new pin or not. You know, they might just do this out of spite, because why would they let anyone else modify their stuff? But, you know, that's beyond the point. So this is all kind of at your own risk. You can always insure it with your mailing delivery. If you lose it, they should pay you $1,000. You know, who cares? But so there's that issue. But you can always try to take this to your machinist and see if they can do it for you. This is my gift to the community. And Rep, this is by no means me trying to step on your toes. If you want to send me a couple hundred of these, and I can modify it for the community if they want, or if you want to use my design and make this yourself and send it to all the early adopters, you are very welcome to take my design. I would love to make this dumbbell, the greatest dumbbell, even better. And so I have no problem with you using my design, okay? And guys, if you want Rep to do this, if you want Rep to update these pins, please drop a like, you know, drop a comment, show some support, and maybe they will. Now I know I said that this modification is going to be really easy and you can do it at home, but I didn't realize this second method until after I recorded this clip. So just wait until I show you guys the hard way to modify this, or the cleaner way to modify this, and then I will show you the easier way to modify this after I show you the first way.
All right, so now that we've talked about the pin, took a pretty good in-depth look at the pin, let me show you well, I think the pin is one of the weakest point on this dumbbell. Just not the pin design where there's the magnet, but more of just the nub. That nub is just I think that's the weakest part of the dumbbell, right? The second weakest part of the dumbbell, which is I think is one of the biggest safety hazard, is this pin. You see this pin? This pin came from the factory like this. This passed quality control, right? And so when you open this, you see how it opens like this? You see how that pin stays open? Now, say you have it in here and it's locked like that, right? It's locked like that. You open it, you pull it out, and now it's stuck, right? But you don't notice that it's stuck. You take it out, you do something, and then you're like, oh, I need to put this in. You put it in, and you don't realize that pin right there is still sticking out. If you go and you lift this up and you do a press or something, that's gonna fall out and bust you in your head, or bust you in your teeth, or, you know, might even fall and hit someone that's around you. So if it doesn't hurt you, it might hurt someone else, and if not, that's just not safe. So guys, when you use this outer weight, you guys have to make sure this pin is fully engaged lock before you lift it, right? And even if your pin is working perfectly like this one, you see how when you pull it out, things can get in there. Over time, it can get dirty, it can get gritty. And when that happens, guys, it's going to get stuck like this one. And when it starts to get stuck, what happens is, I'll show you. When you drop this weight in, right? When you drop this weight in, this pin gets pushed in by this first plate. So that's how the pin goes in. So if this gets gritty, when you push this down, it's probably not going to fully it's not going to fully want to retract. If this puts enough stress on it, it can cause this pin to bend, just like what happened to this one. And so when this bends, it's going to cause it to be even more gritty, and it's going to exacerbate your problem. And so the key is to periodically lubricate this pin so that you always have good lubrication and it doesn't get stuck or get gritty. Okay? And so this piece right here might be one of your biggest, might be one of the weakest part of this dumbbell. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at the slider. So I've already taken the pin out, so let me go ahead and take the slider out. So when you take the slider out, I'm going to show you. Oh, you see that? When you take the slider out, let me show you. Once you take your slider out, you'll see three components. You have a BB and the spring. This BB and this spring is what put tension onto this rail. And as this rail slides, you can hear that BB. That BB is bouncing up and down into individual grooves, individual divots that aligns with the weight increment. So every divot is 10 pounds basically. So as you slide this slide, it's basically this BB bouncing into each divot, right? And so as you can see, this BB and this spring, it's very basic components that you could probably find at a specialty store or even online.
So guys, when you are using your dumbbell and it unlocks, honestly, the only thing that's holding this plate in place is the tension from this spring and this ball. And honestly, guys, that's not a lot of tension, and that's not going to be very safe. Yeah, the weight kind of holds tension on this slider, but the thing is, that's only if you're holding it in a horizontal direction like this. If you start to go and curl it, or you start to change the shift, then the weight is no longer bearing down. It's just going to be it's just going to be kind of free floating. And so when it's free floating like this, unlock, guys, this is the only thing holding the tension of the slider. So that's not something that you want to trust to stay in place to prevent weights from falling all over the place and on your toe, on your head, on a kid that's sitting next to you. Things like that are a huge safety concern. So whoever's saying that, oh, you can use the slider, you can use the dumbbell without it locked in. No, guys, that's not the best. You can technically, but you can't also technically. So just be very careful, guys.
And then you have this piece right here. This is your magnet. Let me get this out without trying to scratch my plate. So the magnet's very strong. So this magnet, I don't think this magnet will ever go bad. So this component is very simple, and it's going to be very reliable. And so this is a pretty simple design. And so guys, when you take this out and you put it back in, sometimes the magnet inside will do this. I'll show you. Sometimes when you take this out, this magnet right here, it might come out of this housing, and it will what the heck? So this magnet will come out, and it will attach to the side of this rail. What happens when that happens? And when that happens, it's going to prevent you from locking the pin, right? And so if that happens, you just take it out and just realign it. Put it back in the housing. Hold on. And when that happens, you just put it back in this housing like this, and then you put it back into this spot. And once it's full, see how it should sit? It should sit in the center, and then this housing should go perfectly in it. And once it's perfectly sandwiched, you're not going to have any issues with this popping in and out, okay? So when you're doing the modification, guys, just be careful with this. Make sure it's lined up, and then when you put it in, once you put the pin in, there's no way for it to become misaligned. So very simple. That is the slider. Let's see, is there anything else that could go wrong? All right. So the handle is connected to these plates by that bolt in the middle. I don't know if that can go bad, if that can get loose over time. I'd have to take this apart to see. So let's see. All right, so guys, I tried to unloosen this bolt. but it's on there so tight that, you know what, I don't even want to mess with it because it's already torqued down really good for me. So I really want, oh, okay. So this bolt in here, it has also there's also another one of these Allen bolt in here. I can see it, and there's a place for you to put an Allen key in there. So guys, this handle is held onto these two plates with another Allen bolt in there. So if anything happens, you can take this off and then you can service that bolt in there. So very simple design. What else is there? Oh yeah, let's look at these plates by themselves. Hold on. And then we have this plate, which is basically the same thing as the head plate, the first plate, right? If you ever need to service this, I don't think you could really service. You could probably tighten these bolts, but there's nothing you can do about these. This thing in here. This looks like it's been machined in. But guys, if you do modify this, right? If you do modify this dumbbell and you cut your pin, if anything happens to your plate, I don't think rep's gonna be like, oh, let me see your pin to see if you modified it or not. I think they'll just send you a new plate. So if you are worried about the warranty, I think if anything else goes wrong with this dumbbell, there's a there's a way around it, and so I don't think you have anything to worry about.
Okay guys, now that you've seen the in-depth teardown of it, let me proceed to show you guys the modification. So like I said guys, this is the modified pin where I cut down this bolt and I shaved off the nub on this nut. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys the measurements of how much I cut off. Let me show you guys the modification and how much I actually cut off of everything. Let me see, where is it? Okay, so the original unmodified bolt is this is a nut. The original nut is going to be 0.44 inches, right? And then you're gonna cut off, and then you're gonna be left behind with let's see. You're going to be left behind with 0.17 inches, right? So that's, I got to do the math. You can do the math on that. So you're going to cut off that much of the nut, right? And then the full, unadulterated length of the bolt is 1.174 inches, right? And so the adulterated modified bolt is now 0.94. So let me show you guys. I'm going to zero it out, ping pow, and then so you're going to be cutting off 0.26 inches, right, of the bolt. And then let me do that again. Dang it, I messed up. I'm gonna do that again. Okay, so it's gonna be, you're gonna be cutting off 0.27 inches off of that nut. All right. All right, guys. I'm gonna show you guys how I was able to cut the bolt and the nut. I was able to record cutting the nut and also cutting the slot in the nut. I wasn't able to record cutting the bolt because my machinist, he's a much older gentleman, and he wasn't really feeling too comfortable that I was recording because he has a bit of a stage fright. And so I had to beg him to allow me to just record these two clips for you. And so for the first clip where he cut the nut, the machine that he used to cut this nut was a lathe, and the machine that he used to cut the slot into this nut is called a mill. Beautiful.
Well, see, what we need to do is take this out.
It's hot. Be careful.
So the question is this pin safe? This modified pin, is it safe to use on the dumbbell? Will it break? Will it crack under load? So as I said earlier, guys, this pin holds no load. All of the load is placed onto the slider, but it's only placed onto the slider in a horizontal, in a vertical up-down load. Whereas when you turn it sideways, the load is being placed on these brackets that's holding everything together in the horizontal direction. And even if you flip this upside down, then the weight is still being loaded onto the slider, and none of the load is being placed on the pin. And another way you can see this or feel this is it doesn't matter how you hold the dumbbell, upside down, in any given way, you can always move this pin freely. You can always pop it in and out. And so that's just evidence that you don't have to worry about the pin breaking on you or not being able to hold the weight. Okay guys, now that we got all of that out of the way, here's the fun part. If you don't want to modify your pin and risk voiding your warranty, and if you don't want to go through the whole trouble of shaving down the pin or sending it to me to get it done, you can always just use a regular bolt and a regular nut. And so this bolt and this nut right here, now that we know that this pin theoretically should be safe to use, if you guys don't actually want to modify your pin and go through the whole trouble of sending me your pin and modifying it, I have the easy way to do this. And so the easy, cheap way to do this is you use a bolt and a nut. So this bolt is hold on, let me double check. This bolt is a M6 by 20 millimeter. So the length of this is 20 millimeter, okay? And this is perfect. And this bolt is a M6. It's an M6 bolt, yeah. So this nut is an M6 bolt. This nut is an M6, and this bolt is a M6 by 20 millimeter. And so you can just take this, put this in here. I'm gonna show you guys. Let me go ahead and put the slider back in. I'll show you. So you put the slider back in pretty easily. I found this extra BB somewhere. So you just put this here and here, and then you have to make sure that this BB goes to where the 10 is first, or this BB goes in from the 120 back to the 10. Okay, so I'll show you guys. Okay, so we got that back in. Okay, so let's go ahead and see if we can bolt this on. So I'm going to bolt this in, and then we're going to screw that in there. Just get that in there. And then with the bolt, guys, you can use a pair of pliers, and you can bolt that in pretty easily. So just bolt that in. I'm not going to tighten it too much because I'm not going to use this. I have my modified pin, but look, you see, it's no longer sticking out. It's flush. So if you guys don't want to modify your pin, and you're fine with this looking like this, you can do this. But the thing is, the bolt inside here is kind of sharp, so it can kind of grind up in here and cause scratches, which is what happened to me. And so I got a way around that. And guys, if you don't want this this bolt to scratch up the inside of your rails here, you can just roll it in some JB weld. I have some JB weld around. I just mixed it up and I rolled it in, and it just gave the corners a little bit softer. But the thing is, if you put too much on, it's going to catch on, and it won't be able to go in as easily and as smoothly as you would want. So guys, now that I have this this modification, it has taken every issue that I have with this dumbbell out of the picture. Not only does it give you, since I cut it down, sometimes you have to kind of really push it in. So it goes in. It works flawlessly. It's just sometimes you gotta just push it in. I don't ever have trouble getting it in. So you just gotta. It's just a little learning curve, nothing too crazy. But now that I have that modification done, I have no more issues with this dumbbell, other than maybe that lock pin, the adder weight lock pin. I have no issue. I mean, this dumbbell just works really good, you know. And the added feature of having these flush lock pins is now you can hold this at any weight range. It don't matter if you have it at 70, it don't matter if you have it at 90, it don't matter if you have it at 40. You can hold this dumbbell like this now and not even worry about pushing into that. And so what that allows you to do is you can load this up and you can hold it like this, do sit-ups, you can do cambered curls. I don't know why you would want to do that, but you can. You can do overhead tricep extensions like this. You can even do it like this, but you can always do it like that. Now you can actually use this handle. I was using it to do sit-ups, weighted sit-ups, and it worked really well. I know a lot of people have done review on this and has talked about it. I really wish that this handle would have a center knurling. That would really help. You know, just finding the center point of the dumbbell. Not that you really need to, because the handle is pretty narrow. And you'd do fine without it, but having a center knurl would just add to it. And the knurling on this is okay. It could be better. I feel like it could be sharper. Hopefully, maybe a company out there can create an aftermarket, higher quality, sharper, more aggressive knurling. That would be a plus. But other than that, man, it works like a very good dumbbell. It works like a very traditional dumbbell now. You can when you can roll it, when you curl, you don't have to worry about it. Worry about this pin. See that? When you curl it, or you can do wrist, when you curl it or do wrist curls or anything, you never have to worry about that pin hitting you anymore. See? Now it's perfect. You can do a bulldog grip. You can flare out as much as you want until your knuckle pushes against the side, and you won't have any issues. Guys, even if you have small hands and this pin is not an issue and your knuckles don't hit on it,
This modification actually opens up a whole new world of features for your dumbbell. One of the features being, now you can use any grip you want with this dumbbell. You want to use fat grips. Look at my clearance. I have so much clearance now for fat grips. See? Also, if I want to use these weirdo off angle grips, I can use these too. These are a little bit trickier. I'll show you how to do it. So with these fatter grips, you can't really just grip it like this, because then there's not much room. The fatter the grip, the less room you have. But what you can do is you can turn it to the side and have it sitting on the side now, and you can come in from this angle and you'll still have that grip, right? You still have that feature. Now you can still curl like this, see? Because unlike power blocks, these rails don't extend all the way out. And so now not only you can use the rails to hold, but you can use the features of being able to use any grip you want. Any fat grips, any off fat grips. It's much more compatible now, see? I set it up like this and I can curl it, see? So that's a lot of value, guys. The reason why this grip works on the sideways instead of like this is because when you hold it sideways, your knuckle is pointed outside of that frame. The only thing that's pointed towards that frame is your fingertips, and your fingertips don't protrude out. It's the knuckle that protrude out. And so by flipping it to the side, you make these grips compatible. And even with Versa grips, before where the pin is, when you put your hand in, you don't have much space. You kind of have to watch out for where that pin is and before you could get into position. But now with this, you can put your hand all the way in and you can get the Versa grips on very easy. You have much more space and you never have to worry about it unlocked. Because if the pin is there and you put the Versa grip on, sometimes your hand actually accidentally unlock it. And if you have if you're already locked in on one side and you put it on the other side, if you unlock this pin somehow, you have to undo yourself and redo your grips again. And for me, my experience at first was my hand, I had to actually kind of really focus on not hitting the pin. And you know, when you're lifting, you already have enough things to worry about, your form, your technique, and anything less, when you have less thing to worry about, it's only going to make your lift better. It's only going to make your lift stronger. And so not having to be mindful of the pin, of the side pin, it's going to improve your workout tenfold. Another thing, guys, some people think that if, for instance, if your hand was hitting the pin at 50, you can just flip it around. If you could just flip it around and miss it. That's not the case. You can flip this around. You can flip this around, right? But the pin will still be in the same position. You can switch this. You can switch the left dumbbell over to the right dumbbell, and the orientation of the pin will stay the same. So if you have issues where the pin hits you at 50, at the 50 increment, no matter where you put the dumbbell, it's going to have the same effect. The only way to change the orientation is to flip the dumbbell upside down. And you know, who wants to do that? That's just going to add another step to your workout. And when you're working out, you want to be as efficient as possible. One of the unique thing about this, guys, is these weights can be adjusted unilaterally. So you can have a full stack on this side and half a stack on this side, and it will still work. It will just be extremely unbalanced. And you know what? Sometimes you can, when you get in when you set it to certain unbalanced settings, you actually get a different workout feel. You can actually work different muscles in your arm, especially doing curls and stuff. So like, for instance, if I had it at one side at 20 and the other side at 10, instead of it being 30, it would be 25. But the thing is, one side would be heavier than the other side, but you can always change the center of mass. So like if the right side has more weight than the left side, you can put your hand closer to the right side and it will feel balanced. So even though the weight is unbalanced, the shaft allows you to put your hand in different orientation to make the center of mass balance. And so with that feature of having the unilateral weight change, you can actually get a lot more incremental weight change versus like something like a power block where it's only 10-pound increments and then you have the 2.5 pound. These are 10-pound increments with 2.5-pound increments, but also it has that 5-pound increments when you use the off balance weight set. But you can even balance it even more. So say if you have 20 on one side, you have 20 on one side and 10 on the other, you can add the 2.5-pound weight to the side that's more unbalanced. Hold on. You can add the 2.5 to the side that's more unbalanced. And when you go and lift it, now it's unbalanced, but with that 2.5 only on one side, it gives it a little bit more balancedness. And so you can do increments of 2.5. You can do increments of 5 pounds. You can do increment of 10 pounds. So I'm actually waiting for my madspotter arms to come in. But another feature that this has by being unilateral, by you being able to change the weight unilaterally, when you have these when you have these dumbbell on the madspotters, you can load the weight. You can load the weight, you just have to flip the dumbbell upside down, and you can load the weight just like this. Hold on. You can load the weight by just adding the plate on top like that. Now, if you had that pin issue, right, it would be a little bit scary because if the pin pops out and something happens, these weights will crash down on you. But now that you don't have the pin sticking out, there's no way to disengage the lock. This is perfectly safe to use. When it comes to reliability, I think Iron Master is probably the most reliable because it's the most simple. But the thing is, Iron Master dumbbells, they are in their own category. They are like basically plate loaded. And so it's not really fast to change. And me, I like efficiency when I'm working out. I don't want to be spending any time changing weight. I want to be spending time lifting. And so I can't really compare these to Iron Master, but the power blocks, you can kind of compare this because power blocks is probably the second, if not the most reliable dumbbell out there. People have had power blocks for years and years, and nobody's has ever had their power blocks fail that I have even seen. And so all the power blocks that has been sold are still being sold now on the used market. So they're going to last forever. But the thing about it is, Power Blocks doesn't even come with lifetime warranty. This does. And Power Block has a thing where you can't really use madspotter arms to get them in position because of the adder weight pins that's underneath there. Whereas with this, it's much more open on both sides. You can use madspotter arm with this, no problem, and you can put it into position easily on like a barbell, and then you can lift the weight from the very top position, just like how you would with a bench. Whereas with power blocks, you're not going to be able to do that. So I think with just that feature, this beats out the power blocks. And I'm not even including all the other features that this dumbbell has.
So with that being said, guys, with this modification, I think that this is indeed the best dumbbell on the market, the best adjustable dumbbell on the market, the fastest, the best feeling, the most balanced. This is a buy for life item. This will last forever. I have no concerns about the longevity of this. Only the longevity of the adder pin. That design can be improved, but now that I know that could be an issue, I know how to service it, and that's how I'm going to keep myself safe. And for my last part, I have a little word for the community. When I first talked about the issues of this dumbbell, I faced a lot of backlash. I faced a lot of criticism, and you know, that is okay. For all the big fans of this dumbbell out there, you can check my Reddit. My Reddit's Habanero Pop. Before I got the dumbbell, I was telling everyone that I think this is the best dumbbell ever. I think that this dumbbell is gonna basically crash the market for all the other dumbbells out there. Nothing can really compete with this. And then when I got it, I had issues. And you know, Homegym is all about innovation, right? Homegym is still young. It's still in its adolescence age. Even though working out has been around for, you know, hundreds and thousands of years, maybe not thousands, but hundreds of years. I feel like after COVID, it's when the gym industry has actually progressed much more than it's ever has. And so innovation is always welcome, right guys? And so whenever, you know, we all do things a little differently, especially us weird ones, especially us tinker, especially us you know, innovators. We're gonna always want to find a better way to do things and always want to improve things. And all because somebody do things differently, that doesn't make them you know, less than anyone else. If anything, people who do things differently and come at it from a different perspective, you know, they are the one that add values to this world. And so for all the great minded innovations out there, all the great minds and innovators out there, don't ever let a person bring you down and tell you that the way you do things is dumb. You have to embrace it. Embrace yourself, embrace your tinker mind, embrace your innovation. And there is no better time than today. Today, tomorrow, now is the best time to innovate, because we have so much access to the world. All you have to do is make a video, and then the world can see your work. And you know, that's what really matters. That's what really matters. That's what the real meaning of Homegym is. Homegym is innovation. And being so young, there's still so much room for the Homegym market to grow. There's so much more innovations to be had and to be made, guys. And guys, if you're a true fan of Pepin, you should know that the creator of the Pepin dumbbell, David Pepin, he was just a regular person like you and me. He was just a master mechanic. He was not an engineer. He had issues with all of the current dumbbells on the market, and he was just not satisfied with what they had to offer. And so this great man, having no engineering background, created one of the world's greatest dumbbell. And so it just shows that even the most ordinary people can create one of the most innovative product. And that should inspire you to go out and create a difference, make changes, and innovate, because that is in its essence the very meaning of Homegym. Thank you so much, guys. If you guys liked my content, please give me a subscribe. It would really mean a lot to me. This is my debut. This is my first video, and it would really help my channel grow. Thank you so much, guys. And this was such a fun experience, and this was such a learning experience, and this will stay with me for a very long time. Thank you. And also, a word to all the big gym companies out there: Rep, Pepin, Titan Fitness, Rogue, you know, Bells of Steel, you know, all of you guys. You guys can take this video as my resume if you want me to help you guys innovate. I have a lot of ideas for my next project. I already have full design to convert a 2-to-1 lat pulley to a 1-to-1. And for instance, you see how the Rep Aries 2.0 has a 600-pound weight, but you can never actually utilize all 600 pounds. You can only utilize half of that. I have already finished designing a way to make it so that the lat pulley and the low row are 1-to-1. So can you imagine being able to pull 600 pounds on your lat pull or row 600 pounds? I know I won't be able to do that much, but I'm sure there's a lot of strong men out there that would love to do it, that would be able to do it, and that's probably one of the reasons why they didn't want to go with this rack. But I assure you guys, I will have the design, and once all the parts come in, I will put together a functional 2-to-1 conversion to a 1-to-1. And so Rep, Bells of Steel, any of you guys want to collaborate with me, that would be great. If nobody wants to reach out to me, then that's fine. I will give this to the world at no cost at all. Thank you so much. And also for my next video that I will drop next week, I will show you guys what is the best barbell clip for under $10. Thank you so much.